Hello and welcome. I'm NBG and welcome to the channel. I've been asked recently by a couple different people through discussions on some of my videos to talk about my add-ons. So that's what I decided to do today. I kind of got a list of add-ons to cover, and I'm going to talk about all of them in the sense of how they help me make gold. I'm going to preface this by saying there's a high chance you might have all of these. Maybe there's a couple in there you didn't know, but I'm just going to talk about them I'll try to talk about them in a way that's maybe not as obvious as what you would think. Let's go ahead and get started. The first add-on I want to talk about, I think, which is the most obvious add-on, is TSM, Trade Skill Master. If you're not using TSM yet, what are you doing, right? Like, I think everybody knows what TSM is, right? If you're into making gold. Now, TSM has a lot of functionality. We obviously know about the standard post scan, cancel scan, being able to go in and make, different groups, have different groupings of items, and have different operations set for them for both crafting and, mailing and auctioning operations and all of that kind of stuff, right? I think we all understand that that's the typical stuff that TSM is used for. But I wanted to briefly talk about other functionality that maybe not everybody talks about, or the things that I think that TSM, I probably use more on TSM than even just posting and canceling. And for that, I wanted to talk briefly about the mailing function. So the mailing function, being able to go into the mailbox, and after you have things set up, at least as a function under TSM, TSM, you go into your operations, you make a mailing operation to send it to, whatever your characters, name it whatever you want, have it, I have one sent to, for Berserker, and he's somebody who gets all my pet battling supplies, and then I have all my pet battling supplies are in a group, and then I can mark that group with the operation to, hey, if there's anything in this group, send it to Berserker. I like being able to click one button and have anything in my bags, whether it's an item that was crafted that needs to go to my bank vault, whether it's an herb that needs to go to my alchemist, whether it's a ore that needs to go to my jewel crafter. It doesn't matter, you get the point, right? I love being able to go to the mailbox, going over to groups, clicking on one button, and having everything sent to where it needs to go. That's honestly probably the biggest functionality I get with TSM. I love that, right? And to piggyback off of that, one of my other favorite things about TSM is the disenchant and gold that you can do on the last page at the mailbox on other. You can go and, like, if you have you can auto send anything in your bags that's disenchantable. You can auto send all that kind of stuff to your enchanter. You could also, if you're somebody who gets a lot of gold on a lot of different characters, you can have it set up to where, like, I only ever want 25,000 gold on a character, and anything over that, I want it sent to my bank vault. That's also one click away to auto send all that kind of stuff as well. So anyway, that's my breakdown on TSM, on the things that I really, really use on TSM. Actually, I'm going to change that. I want to add one more thing that I think is pretty important to TSM that probably gets the most use out of me, and that's going to be, here, I'll show you real quick. So if I go under TSM groups and I want to restock my supply, it's going to get me a whole list of things that I need to restock, for the auction house, based on my prerequisites, based on the operations I've set, correct? But the thing I like most about that is, like, let's say if I want to gather all this stuff for a dormy. I love the task list, TSM task list. I can then go into TSM itself, right, and I can go into browse, and the little button pops up, buy all this stuff from the auction house, and I can click scan all, and it'll look up all those items, and then it's usually just one or two clicks away to just buying the exact amount I need. Because you can see in this instance, I need a lithium ore and lightless silk, and I need some more oxyane ore, I need an essentia, I need, all of this kind of different stuff, and sometimes it's hard to keep track of that kind of stuff. I love the TSM task list for this. I will also say about the TSM task list that this hasn't worked as well since 9.2.7. Prior to 9.2.7, because everything was server-based, it was so much faster and it was so easy to get my list of stuff to create, come to the auction house, and, you know, bang, bang, boom, I could just go down each thing. Like you can even see here, it kind of takes forever. So I'm at the point now where I type in a lot of this stuff myself, but you know, it's as easy as, oh, I need some shaded stone. You just click there. Unfortunately, it's going to take a second to find selection. Like I said, this was better before 9.2.7. Actually, let's pick something that the price isn't changing like crazy. Let's pick Lightless Silk. And a lot of times you can just click in there, you know, you click buy out, it already knows how much I need. You just say buy commodity, boom, you bought the 56 of that item that you needed, right? So that's another one of the big functionality things I like at TSM, but again, this doesn't work as well as it used to. However, it still helps me with things like this, telling me to switch to another character because maybe I have some Lightless Silk or whatever I happen to need on another character that I can send over. That's why I like the TSM task list. It's still quite useful, even if the new auction house doesn't make it as easy as it should be. The second add-on I'd like to talk about is Auctionator. Now, you might wonder, why do I use Auctionator if I use TSM? And we will go ahead and talk about that. So, switching to the WoW UI, going over these last few ones are for Auctionator, and I actually use the Auctionator undercut scan a lot, because sometimes, at least lately, TSM is just far too slow, and I find it easier to go through and just cancel specific items. So here, I have a decent amount of items up here, but I'll just go ahead and run. Oh, it's not going to work because I'm trying to record, right? So let's go back in here, redo this, go into an undercut scan. There we go. Now it'll go. So I like to run undercut scans a lot if I don't have very many items, or if like maybe there's just one or two specific items I care about. I like to run the undercut scan through Auctionator. And for me, it just goes faster, and more importantly, it's easier to cancel like one specific item. I don't know why it's getting hung up. Honestly, it's just because I'm recording, huh? That's ridiculous. Anyway, so you know, this, you know, Aetherial Meat or whatever the case may be, it will highlight it, and then it's just as simple as just click on the thing you want to cancel. Boom, boom, those are canceled. I can go get them from the mailbox and post them, right? So that's why I like to use Auctionator. Sometimes if I only have a few items in my bag, I like to use the selling functionality. But the difference is there, it's not going to have a lot of, you know, maybe prerequisites or anything that you add in through TSM. So you kind of have to know, you know, like what you're going to price this kind of thing at, and whatever the case may be. So it requires a little bit more work, but if I only have a handful of 5 or 6 items, yeah, I'm probably going to pop over into Auctionator and do it over TSM. I still use both, though. I go back and forth all the time between Auctionator and TSM just based on what I am doing. The third add-on I'd like to talk about is actually Leatrix Plus. Now, how is this a gold making add-on? Well, the biggest thing is right here is just the faster auto loot, to be honest. That helps, right? If you're out there and you're doing some sort of hyper spawn activity and there's just tons and tons and tons of things to loot and get through, faster auto loot saves you time, and that's why I would consider it a gold making add-on, because the faster I loot, the faster I can loot the next mob, you know, the more money I make per hour because I'm getting through my loot faster, obviously, right? I also use it for max camera zoom, by the way. But Leatrix Plus, and I've used it forever for this reason: max camera zoom and faster auto loot, right? You can do a whole bunch, there's a whole bunch of other automation, you know, whether it's selling junk, repairing, blocking duels, like there's tons of other things that you could find very useful. Showing your cooldowns is a big one because I am a big PvP person and stuff like that as well. Hiding alerts, other things. So there's a lot of stuff with Leatrix Plus, but the primary thing I use it for is honestly faster auto loot and max camera zoom. So that is number 3. Number 4, I'm going to talk about Bagnon and BagBrother. Bagnon, as all of you might be aware, is the bag add-on that shows the full bag, right? It shows all your bags into one bag, and I've used this one specifically forever. I've just liked the layout of it. I like its look. I I just like how easy it is to use. And I like everything in one bag. It's just my preferred way. I'm sure most people are that way, but maybe not. But the second one is BagBrother, and I use that so that when I scroll over like my gold, I can see a breakdown of all my characters on this realm and where my gold's at. I can see that I have like 3.4 million or something on this realm, and this character has 2.2 million, and I can see where all that other gold is lying. And that's just something I like to see because I just helps me keep track of things a little bit better. So that is why I use Bagnon and BagBrother. Number 5 on my list, I'm going to talk about Venture Plan and TLDR. Venture Plan is when I go into my tables. It's in the upper right, and it's mostly just the layout of the actual table itself when you open it up. And the biggest functionality that has is in the upper right. You can kind of see the level of your table, kind of like yeah, exactly that, just the level of your table. And that's mostly just for personal information. It's not, doesn't really matter that much. The higher level, the more loot really, or like slightly more gold it builds up as you get a higher level and other things like that. But I just like to know kind of where my table is at through its own campaign. The second part of that, which matters a lot more, is TLDR. And you've seen me cover this one before. It is the table add-on that I use to semi-automate running your tables. So you can open it up and you can select, I want anima, I want gold, I want this, I want that. And you can kind of rank them on send everything out for gold first, then anima, then equipment, or whatever you want. You can set it up the way you want. There's other functionality to fine-tune it in terms of like what levels of things it's going to send out and everything else. And then once you have it all set up, first of all, you can make like profiles to where once you have one profile set up, you can just go to each of your character and kind of like load that profile and you're good to go. But once you have it set up, you literally just go up there and you open up your table, you click start, and if you had a bunch of stuff out, a bunch of missions that were already going, it will complete all those missions and it'll automate going right into the next missions, and it'll automate sending them out. There's a little button you can click that it kind of looks, it judges and runs basically tests on if that mission will be successful or not. And like I have it set to like 2,000, of like just run it like 2,000 times, figure out if it could be sent out or not, and then after you figure out if it's possible, I want it to just auto send the mission. So that's how mine's set up, to where I basically just go up there, click start one time, all my mission rewards roll in, and then all my new ones roll out immediately without me really having to do anything. And the reason why that's useful, not just as a pickup time on one character, but when you're like me and you have maybe 15 plus characters that you do your calling tables on, it vastly increases like the speed at which you get all that stuff done. It makes it really, really easy and brain dead. And this is the moment that I would like to say, everybody, do your tables. The amount of gold that you can get in, even if you only have 3 or 4 characters or something, it is too worth it not to do that like once or twice a day. The amount of gold, like I could probably show a breakdown of just how much gold I make. Like 15 characters, I make around anywhere between like 7 and 12,000 each time I do it, and it's usually 4+ hours between doing it so I can get the gold missions in. So like for instance, over the summer, I would do it once in the morning and then once at night before I go to bed. So about, 16 hours in between, or whatever the case may be. And each time I would do it, I'd get somewhere between 7 and 12k over 14 characters actually. And that ends up being probably on average 15k plus, upwards of like 25 on like an extremely good day. But really 15k plus is guaranteed each day from just doing it twice a day with that many characters. Yeah, that adds up at the end of the month, right? That's 600,000 plus gold that brings in for me every single month, and all I have to do is take 20 minutes to log in and do my damn tables. So do your tables. So a couple other add-ons I wanted to talk about are Worth It, Routes, FarmHud, and Gathermate 2. And I clumped these all together, and I'll show you why. Gathermate 2, you're probably aware, is what marks all these nodes on the map as you've gathered them in the past. It's also what shows like the little green circle you can see, like of where a node could potentially be. And so that's Gathermate 2. That's pretty much what it does. But when mixed together, this is a great group of add-ons. We have Worth It, which is right here. Worth It is an add-on that lets you essentially search up different farms. You can search by gold per hour. You can search exactly what you're looking for. This kind of stuff might not be super up to date, so don't quote me on that. I usually use it already with a farm in mind, right? So like, let's say I'm out here and I know I need to get Widow Bloom. That's as simple as me coming in here, finding Widow Bloom on the list, or however you want to do it, typing it in, whatever the case may be. And you can actually click this little like hamburger icon and you can import route. Import route will only work if you have like the routes add-on. So that's where those two come together. And I usually use this, and when you go to import route and say yes, I want to import this route for Widow Bloom, once you import it, it'll draw lines for a route on your map. Then it's easy to just go through and follow this route specifically, follow the red, and then when you see obviously a node, run out and get it, and then jump back on the route and keep going. But I also hate looking up in the top right hand corner for my map or anything like that, so I use another add-on to help me with that, and that add-on is FarmHud. FarmHud is kind of difficult to get used to, but trust me, just give it some time and it feels pretty good. But it essentially takes this mini-map and places it in the middle of your screen. So as I do that and I click FarmHud, now you can see there's the red lines even from route, and now I can use the middle cursor, which is my character. This is essentially just the mini-map transposed like large like this. And anything that gets within this circle, the green circle, if the node is there, it'll pop up. So like that one right there, actually I think that just popped up, and that's why that happened. Let me find one that's just a little bit off screen. But anyway, if I'm ever out farming anything, I use FarmHud for this reason, because then I just kind of drive the green circle, towards the node that I already have unlocked because I've picked it before, with Gathermate, and I just kind of drive at the dots, and see, see, we just got that one in range, so it popped up, and then there we go. So that's my combination: routes, Worth It, routes, FarmHud, and Gathermate 2. Another add-on I will showcase, I actually only use on a character that I'm doing a shuffle with, and that would be Vendor. There's other add-ons that can do this. You can do some stuff with TSM, but this is just the way I do it. Vendor, let's see, let me go into it real quick. Vendor, you can set up different things, and you can add things to like a sell list, to where if it's in your bag, it gets treated as junk, essentially. So if I have these, and this is usually the shuffle I do, if I have Desolate Scale Treads, and if I talk to a vendor, then it will be sold. So let me just go ahead and do that real quick. Let me make a couple, because I think I have some stuff on me. Let's make some Desolate Scale Treads, because it's usually the thing I flip to the vendor. I'll make like 3 or 4 of them. And there we go. So now if I were to go talk to any vendor, it just gets auto sold like it's junk, right? So it just makes shuffling and stuff much faster. And that's the way I do it. So usually whatever character I'm doing it on, I'll make a whole bag, I'll talk to a vendor, or I'll use like my Traveler's Tundra Mammoth or whatever the case may be, open it up, it auto sells, I go back in, I start making more, and I do it again, right? That's just how I do it. But the add-on that I use to mark things for auto sale is vendor, and I only have that add-on turned on characters that actually do the shuffle. So for this character, it's Desolate Scale Treads. For like JC, you know, you can do, you know, those shuffles, whatever it is. That's just the way that I set it up to make selling easier for vendor shuffles. The next add-on I want to talk about is very laggy, but I kind of just use it to keep track of stuff for my own, well, insanity, I guess. But that would be this one up here. Let me bring it up. It's going to look like the whole game's lagged out, and that's because it is. I don't know why this thing is so laggy. But this will bring up any attempts that you've made on any bot. It has mounts, it has tons of other stuff. So like, for instance, Ashes of Alar. Now granted, this is only this account on characters I've logged into. I only recently turned on this add-on, so I don't exactly have a ton of attempts on anything. Plus, this is account number like 7 of mine. Granted, it's the only one I'm paying for right now. But, yeah, I've had hundreds and hundreds of attempts prior to this account. So, anyway, don't judge me. But anyway, so like this is something I can go in and I can say, oh, how many attempts do I have on Ashes of Alar? How many attempts do I have for, you know, whatever it is? And that's really its only functionality, is it keeps track of stuff like that. Like it'll keep track of like the casts that you have for like trying to get the strange goop and other things like that it'll keep track, or like the crystal things that drop that can get the Thundering Cloud Serpent. It'll let you know like how many loots you've had since your last one of those that you looted up, and things of that nature. So I like using rarity, and that's mostly so I can cry myself to sleep as I stare at the number of Ashes of Alar attempts that I've had. Next on the list is going to be a few different ones that mostly have to do with pet battles. First of which is going to be Rematch, and that is this like designed UI for the pet journal. And with that, I would also like to point out Rematch TSM pet values. What that does is that's going to use TSM and kind of look at the prices of different things based off of like the regional average as well as what it is on your server. So, you know, let's find a decent one to talk about. Well, really they all are. I don't know. Little bling right here. You can see the first number is talking about my server, right? The 1199, that's kind of what it's going on here compared to the average price of 642 in the region. So that would tell me that this is a good pet to sell here. You can look at the Leyline Broodling and see that it is going for less on my auction house than what it does average, right? So it's one of those things. So this would help you kind of judge on, man, which pet should I sell on this server? This one. Selling for more on this server than the average might be a good pet to put up, so on and so forth. So that's what I use Rematch and then Rematch TSM pet values for, is just to kind of get an idea of the value of whatever pet I may have, both in general value and then in comparison to the average. After that, we will talk about a couple other pet add-ons. So going with Rematch, there's a couple other ones, and that is tdBattlePetSript and tdBattlePetSript Rematch. Now, what those allow us to do, as you saw over here on these sides, I have these like saved teams and stuff, and these are specifically saved for different world quests that are in Shadowlands. Now, what you're able to do is you're able to go down to teams, you can import a team, and I'll show you the site here in a second, but you just import that team, whatever it tells you to use, boom, you import it, it adds it in and names it, you know, like, you know, the Airborne Defense Force quest, or whatever one it is. And after you do that, you can right click on it and you can go down to write script, and there's scripts that you can get that essentially automate the pet battle as much as possible. And then when you get into the pet battle, you basically just click the back, or the keybind, excuse me. I think it's goes to A, and you just keep hitting that, and it'll do the whatever the set abilities are based on the script. So Zufu's, the way that I use it is like, let's say I'll go to Shadowlands and I'll go to World Quests, and I'll bring up all the world quests on the side. It's probably really hard for you guys to see. I'm sorry. There we go. I will zoom in a bit. So when you click on world quests, you can see the ones on the side. Let's say, I don't know. I don't even know which ones are up today. I think the Mind Games of Addons is up today. So it's like I can click on that, and it'll bring me to a page that essentially shows me different options, and they're rated on how I can beat that world quest. So like this one, it says, hey, have a Dark Moon Zeppelin, Iron Starlet, and then any other pet. And what you end up doing is you can click the rematch string. This will copy the pets essentially, and that's how you like add the pets for this fight specifically, the way that we had it. And then after you do that, you can click on the tdBattlePetSript, and it'll basically copy whatever script's written for this to help you automate the fight. On this site, by the way, you can also use the arrows and go side by side. So like, let's say it's like, oh, I don't have a Dark Moon Zeppelin. And guess what? It's pretty easy. Just keep going and looking at other options. Like most people have Icky, probably. Icky's a very good pet, by the way. You know, so you might be able to be like, oh, X, whatever it is too expensive. Oh, but I have Icky. Let's see how much Bone Shard is. You know, which I don't even know it could be bought on the auction house. So I'm just giving you an example. But that's kind of how I go through. And then ones that have the arrow down here at the bottom, you can kind of see if there's other pets that can fit into that spot. So that's what I do, and I kind of go through, and I try to pick, like, I know I have both. Actually, I have all three of these. So like, this is a good one for me. I already know right away because I know I have all three of these. It'll tell you, like, and it'll pick the skills. Like, you don't have to pick the skills. You don't have to do anything. You just essentially go, oh, I want to use this. I'm going to use the rematch string. Some do not have this script, right? So some people might not pick this because they don't want to do the fight themselves. However, a lot of times you might see somebody down here and they might have a script that you can copy and add in yourself. So again, just because it doesn't have the script button does not mean the comments don't have one that is ready for use. That is the end of the add-ons that are really for gold making. The last one I will add, because I've been asked about it, is like my darkened UI, and that's just from an add-on called SUI. And if I type that in /SUI, I can bring it up. There's other things that you can do, other changes you can do to like the unit frames, and the different themes that you can do. Like, let's go switch it to Blizzard just to showcase real quick. Like, you know, like obviously this will, why did I pick that one to show? I should have picked something better. Like, let's go to, like, you can do class specific. Let's save that. But there's a bunch of different settings in here you can do. I mostly just use it because I like, yeah, look, see, here's it all nice and pretty and blue. You know, you can get rid of the dragons. You can do all sorts of stuff with SUI. It's just the one I like to use, and that's primarily just because I really like the dark UI. You can change some fonts, you can do all sorts of other things, but I mostly just use it because I like the dark look, like kind of like looking at the darkened version of YouTube or Twitch or whatever the case may be. I just like it dark like this, so that's really all I use it for, but that is where that comes from. That is the end of the showcase on all the add-ons that I personally use for gold making or otherwise, and why I use them. I would like to just take a minute to talk about a couple other things more specific to the channel and the future. For those that have been watching my content since I started making it and have been taking part in the comment section like crazy, like some of you, there's 5, 6, 7 of you that I think are commenting on nearly every video, and I love you guys for that, and it's awesome. I love having the conversation. I would just like to say that since I'm back to work, it's really hard for me to even be able to comment back to you guys. So don't fret if I don't comment back I know before I was commenting pretty quickly to everybody. I will read them. I will comment back to you, I promise. So just give me some time on that. As for content, obviously, like right now for me, it's Friday. It's a lot easier for me to sit down at the end of a week on Friday and actually be able to pump out a video. I think my current plan right now is to try to get a video out Friday, Saturday, Sundays. So all 3 days, I'm hoping to be able to get a video out. And then in terms of the actual work week, oh man, it's kind of hard, you know, and I'll try, and I'm not saying that I won't. I'm saying I plan on doing one Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and if you guys get more than that, awesome. If I can do more than that, awesome. But I might not be able to. So just keep an eye out. I'm hoping to get more of a precise schedule so that you guys have an idea of when you'll be able to see videos. But as I've already seen from this first work week I had, if I don't post videos, then I, don't get views and subs and growth, right? That's the goal. Is I want to get growth because I want to build a community, and that doesn't happen if I'm not posting videos. So a lot of me really wants to try to get decent videos out to you, and then the other part of me knows I just can't unless it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So anyway, enough about that. The next thing I want to talk about is things I'm looking on making videos on for the future. I've promised numerous of you, a whole bunch of you, that I will get some farming videos out of some specific farms. So I'm going to go through and hopefully try to get one or more of those done this weekend so that I can share some farms with you guys. I am also fully aware, also because of some comments too, that the pre-patch has hit the PTR, and I will be going on there at some point to talk about gold making stuff and to look into both professions as well as gold making opportunities for the pre-patch. However, I also know that like the pre-patch event and other stuff like that isn't out on the PTR yet, and it's going to be really hard to judge what is possible for gold making until we know more about the events coming. However, I have a couple great ideas for the pre-patch itself on things that I think are going to be worthwhile to craft when pre-patch hits, but we can talk about that at a later date. The other thing I'd really like to do is, I am not in beta, but my god, if I was, I would be able to pump out some content about my thoughts and opinions on everything from all professions, whether it's crafting, gathering, whatever the case may be, and like my plans. I might wait a little bit longer, but I could probably easily make a video and talk about, even though we're far out, my initial thoughts on what I think is going to be worthwhile to do right at the start, or like the path I think I'm going to take to make gold. Because I mean, there is a lot of information out there, and it does make me really think about like not just the work orders, but the other functionality in terms of like the ratings of the materials, having like the 1-star, 2-star, 3-star materials, blah blah blah. It is very interesting, and those first few weeks of Dragonflight I think are going to be quite insane. I have a couple things I think I'm going to gun for to make as much gold as possible, but I think it's also going to be one of those situations that you're going to have to be really fluid in how you try to make gold. But again, we'll talk about that at a later date. Other videos coming in the future, honestly I couldn't tell you. That's one of the biggest ones right now. Is I would really like to be able to look at the PTR, and I'd really like to be able to see some sort of sign of ways that we can make gold during it. And I really want to see the beta, if Blizzard could be so kind to let me in there so I can make some content. If I had beta, I would definitely be pumping out content on that for sure. Oh yeah, that was it. There is also been talk about, somebody was wondering like what I meant by like maintenance mode, and how, like, what that means for me. What does that mean that I'm doing right now? Because I really feel like, especially on my main server, everything's taken such a huge hit that it really doesn't feel like crafting or anything is worth it right now for the most part. I need to update you guys on the Fresh 61st server. I'm and let you know what's going on there. Just so you guys know, it's not going well, and it's not because of what we were doing. It's because the market has crashed heavily over there for everything we were doing, like worse than my main server. I don't know how that happened, but it's become to where like there's hardly any profit, and that's unfortunate. So I need to make an update video on that and the future for both that character and in general. And those are all things I'm working on. But rest assured, I'm going to do my best to get some content out over the next couple days. And yeah, just keep being you guys. I really appreciate all the subs. I appreciate all the support. I love the comments. I love talking to you guys. It's awesome. So I guess I probably should have put this at the beginning of the video, but I have a bit of a call of action for you guys. I want to hit 500 subs, and the reason I want to hit 500 is because it opens up the community tab and stuff for me, which allows me then to essentially like write a message and let you guys know what's going on, or what I'm working on, or when you can expect a video, or give you a poll question, or any of those kind of things. And the reason I really want that is this week, you know, it's my first week back at work, and I tried so hard to pump out a video on Tuesday. And I was pumping that video out, and I was getting it, and I got it finished, and I got all the way to posting it, and I didn't. And the reason I didn't is because I just didn't feel like it was up to par on anything else I had done on the channel, and I didn't think that it was a good look for me, I guess. My thought process was on it, if I had never seen my channel and I clicked on this video, would I sub? And my answer to myself was no. Like, why would I sub to this guy? So because of that, I was just like, I can't post this video. It's, you know, and I'm not happy with the Darkland Fair video I did either, by the way. But it's just one of those things that I didn't think it was good enough, so I didn't post it. And that's one of those cases that I could have done something like that and then posted it on the community post, letting you guys know, hey, I made a video, it wasn't good enough, no video today, catch you tomorrow, or whatever the case may be. And that would be sick if I had just had another way of contacting, you know, all of you awesome subscribers. We will be getting a Discord and stuff like that when I eventually stop being lazy and get into making a decent Discord for everybody. I have a feeling I'm going to do that for 1,000 subscribers. My current plan is to also do maybe like a weekend live stream or something like that, just to see like a full rotation of all the things I do and just talk gold making and hang out. So those are plans I have for 1,000 subs. So anyway, enough of me rambling. Thank you guys very, very much. Go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what I could do better. And again, keep letting me know videos out there that I can make. You know who you are out there. You know exactly who you are when you said that you wanted to see stuff on my UI and add-ons I use. And here it is, right? So please, let me know what you want to see. Alright? With that, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.